Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Ryan Endine. I'm the Deputy Director of Communications for the California Department of Water Resources. We are here this morning to celebrate the groundbreaking of the Prospect Island Tidal Habitat Restoration Project. This is a critical project for the protection of salmon and delta smelt and environmentally responsible water management efforts in California. We have several speakers this morning to mark the occasion. We have Samantha Arthur, Deputy Secretary for Water Policy with the California Natural Resources Agency. We have Carla Amoth, Director of the Department of Water Resources. And we have Edward Young, Deputy Director for the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation. And I also want to acknowledge a special guest here this morning. We have Manny Bahia from the State Water Contractors. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Anaita Augustine, DWR's Tribal Affairs Executive Manager, for a land acknowledgement.
Yate. Good morning. It's my pleasure to share a few words on behalf of Yochidehi Wintu Nation. For thousands of years, this land has been the home of Patwin people. Patwin ancestors lived in villages spread across territory that spans from Sonoma Valley in the west to the Sacramento River in the east, and from areas just south of Clear Lake in the north to San Pablo Bay in the south. Patwin people traveled among these villages for ceremonies and trade. This land was maintained and stewarded through traditional knowledge and traditional science that provided a healthy environment with controlled burns, which stimulated new green grass for the herds and produced more seeds of native grasses and wildflowers for collecting to eat. On behalf of the Department of Water Resources, I wish to acknowledge the partnership the department has established with Yochidehi Wintu Nation and their Cultural Resources Department. Through this project and many other ongoing projects within the tribe's ancestral land, Department of Water Resources has worked very closely with the tribe in the protection of cultural resources. Tribal cultural resources are defined as sites, places, or objects with cultural value. And cultural sites can be archaeological, such as village sites or cemetery, historical sites, such as gathering places, and areas for basket making for material or medicines, or traditional sites such as places where specific cultural events have occurred. The Yochidehi Wintu Nation takes a very proactive approach to protecting its cultural resources, and the tribe has developed various technologies to manage culturally important data, which allows tribal monitors to access this information quickly and easily, and to make informed decisions about projects that affect their cultural resources. The Patwin people have remained committed to the stewardship of this land for many centuries, and they have been very actively involved in the cultural monitoring of this particular project. This land has been cherished and protected, and now the tribe looks forward to the success of projects such as this and many other projects the tribe is monitoring. I know I speak not only for the Department of Water Resources, but for each of us, as we are honored and grateful to be here today on the traditional lands of the Patwin people and the Yochidehi Nation, and to be guided through indigenous knowledge and the continued protection of the land and these sacred waters. Ahehe, and thank you. And I'm back to you, Ryan.
Thank you so much, Anaita. Now I'd like to introduce Samantha Arthur, Deputy Secretary for Water from the California Natural Resources Agency. Samantha.
Good morning, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here this morning to celebrate breaking ground on restoration at Prospect Island. In California, we know the science is clear. Our future will continue to be shaped by climate extremes. California is experiencing hotter and drier conditions, coupled with more intense storms that increasingly fall as rain instead of snow. This is putting new strain on our native fisheries. And these restoration actions are critical to improve ecosystems and build water resilience. By restoring tidal action on over 1,500 acres, this project will provide essential habitat for fish like delta smelt, and it will bolster food resources for salmon. The challenges we have require us to work at this scale. This project joins several other landscape scale projects to ensure the health of our landscapes and rivers. In partnership with local water agencies and federal agencies, we're working to bring collaborative solutions driven by the best available science to our state's water management challenges. The Healthy Rivers and Landscape programs, of which this is a part, will bring together the water flows and the habitat at the time that fish need it most. Behind each of these large-scale projects are the people, the agencies, and partnerships that can take concept to action. So I want to recognize this morning the Department of Water Resources and the Bureau of Reclamation for their leadership as both funders and implementers here. And the important work of permitting agencies to enable this project. Our California departments are working to cut green tape for restoration throughout California. And these collective efforts, funding, science, partnerships, are what enable projects like Prospect Island. We're marking important progress today and know there is much ahead of us to restore our native ecosystems and the species that rely upon them. I want to next invite up our Director of Water Resources, Carla Amoth, to share a few words.
Thank you, Deputy Secretary. It's great to see people here out at Prospect Island. When we thought about how do we celebrate this one, we knew it was an active construction site and lots of things going on. But it is important that we come out when we have these moments. And for those of you who have been around these issues around managing the Delta and our sort of struggles in California to chart a way forward that balances our need to deliver water supplies and to protect our species. This is a really important day. This project, as well as some notable other ones that have been completed recently, work out at Dutch Slough, work out at McCormick Williamson, these projects have been on the books since really the 1990s. And that might trigger a moment of despair. But I'm asking you to think about this as a moment where we can really take stock of what it took to get here and the enormous amount of work that we have accomplished because we decided it was time as a community to step forward and to start making decisions, start getting shovels in the ground and getting these projects going. The stakes for California, frankly, couldn't be higher. For those of you who know the State Water Project provides clean water to 1 in 12 Americans. 1 in 12 Americans. The Central Valley Project, together with the State Water Project, support a $50 billion agricultural industry, which is the breadbasket of not just California, not just the United States, really of the world. We also have our iconic species, salmon and Delta smelt. Some might be iconic for other reasons. But this is truly a moment for us to come together and celebrate a project that enables us to respond to weather extremes around us and do the work that we need to do to support the delivery of clean water, but to also support these threatened and endangered species and do it at scale. As our Deputy Secretary mentioned, Prospect Island is a 1,600-acre investment. And it's an investment in new habitat that supports both Delta smelt and salmon. It also supports both mitigation obligations that the state and federal projects have, but also our new program called Healthy Rivers and Landscapes. All of these things need to meet together so that we can do things in California at a landscape scale that can really meet the challenge of our changing hydrology and the stress that it's putting on our physical environment and our communities. So Right now, you can see that we're focused on essentially what is removal of some of this dense vegetation as we start to prepare this area for the tidal restoration. Eventually, what it's going to be is an overflow weir that will be installed on this levee. Along Minor Slough, which is just behind you. And the site will be breached in 2 locations. We do have a map over there if you're interested in taking a look at that. And that's going to allow tidal waters to enter into the system and naturally begin rejuvenating the area. Much like the Lookout Slough project that we were so excited to breach a few levees back in September. And you start to see what was initially a mosaic start to get that really important interconnection that's going to really help the species. So what we expect to see out here is an improvement of the food web. Long ago, the delta was just a massive number of dendritic channels that produced a lot of food for the different species. Our delta smelt, which is endemic to the delta, but also salmon species that were migrating through the system. And over time, those food supplies have been depleted with changing land use. So what happens when we have this tidal marsh reintroduced to the system, it generates that food supply so that our smelt have a place to live and our salmon have things to eat as they're migrating through the system, so that when they get out to the ocean, they're getting there at the right time and they're fatter and bigger and healthier and happier. And that also enables them to withstand some of the changes that we're starting to see and understand better out in the Pacific Ocean. So it's all of those things from the headwaters down through the delta, out into the ocean, and then back again. This is one of 11 tidal marsh projects DWR has been working on, and this complements all of that. I do want to also just reiterate the enormous partnership that we've had with the federal government, the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation, but also the Reclamation District out here, 1667. We cannot get this work done without partnership with local government. And there's a lot of activity out here that the counties in the Delta are very attentive to. This is really, in many ways, the lifeblood of their communities. So we're very grateful for all their partnership over the years that has enabled us to be here today and frankly to be here at our 11 other tidal marsh restoration projects. So with that, I want to just hats off to all of you who have stuck with it for 20 plus years. We knew it was an important idea then. And given all the physical change in our environment that's coming at us, there really is no time like the present. The future is now, or whatever slogan we can talk about. But it is go time, and we're ready. And I'm so excited to see this transformation over time, to see this transformation in time out at Prospect Island and how it connects with these other restoration projects. And it's going to be an amazing thing for all Californians. So thank you. And with that, I'm going to introduce my colleague at the Bureau of Reclamation. Come on up, Mr. Edward Young from the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla, and good morning, everyone. As Carla mentioned, I'm Ed Young, one of the Deputy Regional Directors with the Bureau of Reclamation in the California Great Basin region. And as Deputy Regional Director of Business Services, I oversee a team of folks who through their daily routine work, make it possible for projects such as this. But they rarely get to be out there when the dirt actually starts moving. So today is a unique privilege for me, and I just want to take a moment to really acknowledge and thank all of the folks who have worked behind the scenes to get this project to where it is. It truly is a team effort, and I'm honored to be here with you this morning to celebrate the beginning of this important project. As was mentioned, this project fulfills a critical requirement of creating 8,000 acres of tidal wetland in the Delta, and the 1,600 acres here is going to create vital habitat for the Delta spelt, endangered Delta spelt species, and in turn, really help us comply with our Endangered Species Act requirements as we conduct our water operations. So this perhaps I think the most important piece of this project is that it really is a shining example of the power of partnerships, as was mentioned here already. This project, I think, represents the best of our work in the Delta, collaborating with state agencies, local communities, and the environmental stakeholders to really have meaningful progress in the Delta. The restoration also contributes, as was stated, to the voluntary agreements with the state, and that gives us greater flexibility to maximize benefits for both the environment and our water users. And so, as significant as an impact this project is, it's just one of the many that we have in our broader goal to manage the project responsibly, and while safeguarding the ecosystem of the Delta. So we look forward to continuing these efforts with the state and our partnership, and hopefully returning maybe in 2026 for a ribbon cutting ceremony. And thank you again to everyone who's made this possible, and to all of you who are helping us contribute to sustainable water for future generations. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Samantha, to Carla, and to Edward for their remarks. That concludes the presentation portion of the groundbreaking ceremony. Guests are welcome to view the informational posters as well as look around, and our speakers will also be here for remarks and additional comments or questions should you have them. Thank you again so much for joining us this morning on this beautiful morning, and have a great day.